I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any requested changes to this morning's agenda? Okay, we'll stand as presented. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from the June 24th meeting?
Yes.
Any corrections or additions?
And I make a motion that the minutes be accepted as written. Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, the motion carries. Does any member have a conflict of interest regarding any item on today's agenda?
No.
Has anyone expressed an interest in speaking this morning? No. All righty, we're going to talk about the text amendment to Chapter 16, Article 6, wireless communication. I know I sent a few questions to Stephanie. You want to just talk through anything that you learned as we get started?
Well, I mean, and some of it's pretty, sorry. So pretty basic. Your first question regarding, the dimensional standards and the maximum pole height, et cetera, and where they came from. So they come from House Bill 310, which you guys were sent, along with working with Wes and Ron with Anchor Point Planning. And they have worked with other municipalities. And these are the standards that they've developed, which are pretty much what we can do based on what the state has given us for their standards. Let's see. What characteristics of the installations in Surf City prompted this? We've kind of discussed this a little bit, but to me, they look like brown cactuses that are just kind of standing out. And we would like to be able to be proactive, get in front of this, and make sure that we can require some standards for making them blend in so that it doesn't disrupt the atmosphere that we currently have here.
Are they 50 feet tall, right at the poles, do you know?
I do not know.
Okay.
I didn't ask all those questions, but they don't appear to me.
Yeah.
I think standard power poles generally, am I wrong on that, Tom? Are they 50 feet power poles? Or taller?
Taller, I would say a little taller.
Yeah.
They're not, are they at the top of those? Are they at the
No,
top there?
they're standalone and they're not anywhere close to the same height, so.
It said somewhere in here, it said you can do 10 feet over the utility poles.
Right.
So that's fine.
Yeah, and those aren't nearly that size, so that, you know, that's the same thing that if we get an application as proposed, then I would hope they would be somewhere around that.
Okay.
And then Julie asked about using the descriptive terms such as environmentally green, not a corrodable type of metal or concrete. The way that we would clarify that with an application would be the same way we do with pervious concrete. We would make them bring in a material sheet from what they were using and verify that they met those standards. Minimizing visual impacts. We have not discussed exactly what we would need. It would be a screening technique and not fencing and things like that that would require dumpsters. It would have to be submitted with the application and would be discussed at that time if that was, if it met our standards of blending in.
How can you possibly blend in something that?
You can require like planting, like plants and things like that, that would.
To that thing at the top, plants, I mean.
No,
I mean,
and we have to be reasonable, I mean, but, you know, it would have to be something, even if it's colors or things like that, to keep it.
Camouflage.
Well, the poles are one thing, I mean, when you drive up and down, the poles are, to me, just going out of control.
Yeah.
But then I call it like a blowtorch on the top. How, I don't know anything about camouflage, but how do you hide that?
I don't think you can hide it. I think you just have to do the best.
It's in the blend with your surroundings.
Yeah.
So going back to this utility easement, that's why these are allowed, because utility companies have easements that are in the right of way.
Right, and it's a DOT right of way and they've given them those access.
So are there any restrictions on who can use those easements? Or, I mean, who, does DOT make that decision? Is it specified in the utility easement agreement? I mean, for example, I counted 33 of those blocks coming down once you leave Surf City. And I think the last one stopped here. What's that all about? I mean, I read what it's about, but they're everywhere.
Right.
They're everywhere.
And DOT controls that.
I think it has to do with old infrastructure not being able to keep up with 4G and 5G, and everybody's putting stuff in that's drawing on old infrastructure, so.
That's that thing. I'm talking about the white flocks. They're referred to as flocks. I'm sure you know what I'm
The
speaking.
block cameras,
So
that's, I mean, that's DOT. I mean,
why?
we only have 2 in town.
So when I was coming home yesterday from somewhere, the white kind of protruding, they're 33. And there's a whole bunch right here. I know the map identifies one, the flocker map identifies one up by bar.
Yeah, I know we have 2, like I said, we have 2 flock cameras. I don't know what you're referencing, but we have 2 flock cameras in town. One's at the town line and one is at Barwick Avenue. That's the only ones we have in town.
Well, there's something. I don't know what they are. They look like the flock cameras that you can look up online.
Is it something you hang the Christmas lights to, or? I don't know.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't either, I'm gonna be looking at Arwick when we go.
Yeah,
It's not right at Barwick. It's a few yards maybe north on this side.
We also have some data collection units on some poles that are for our new smart meters. But there's not 33 of them though. So I don't, there's 6 of those in town.
Okay.
What company put the microcell towers in at Surf City?
So basically, we have no say in whatever goes in the utility easement area. It's all,
Some things require permitting, but I mean, just like with these, it's not like we can say, oh. We can just require standards.
But they have to give a permit.
Yes.
But they're coming to the town for the permit through DOT.
No, they will come to us individually as a company.
so in looking through all the sections in this article, the fall zone, I'm sort of confused a little bit. With the lots, the houses are closer than 50 feet, if their towers are 50 feet. So you'd always be within the fall zone, wouldn't you?
So the fall zone is for like this tower, as tall as it is. That's why it has to have
Okay,
the fall zone.
but there's no distinction between the small wireless towers. So it says towers, that's what I'm looking at, is houses are going to be within probably 30 feet of the right of way. So if that's the case, then nothing qualifies for the towers.
In that specific, I don't remember the fall zone being specified in that specific area for the micro towers.
Um, Yeah. And not, there might be a distinction needs to be made, but,
What page are you on?
there's a, I'm trying to find it again. There's like 6 fall zones in this article. Setback and fall zone, section 16 on page 30 of 40. 16 on 57. C might not apply. A1, equal distance and height proposed, 15 feet, otherwise on the fall zone. And then on C, might be talking about a fenced compound. Maybe it doesn't apply to this. The fall zone or setback shall be measured in the nearest portion of tower to the nearest portion.
So in A, it does state that all proposed towers and any other proposed wireless support structures not located in the public rights of way.
It's in the right of way. You don't have the wall.
In A1. That only applies to A1, right? Doesn't apply to C or E. There should be no development of habitable buildings within the setback area or fall zone.
Right, but that's outside of the right of way. So these would be in the right of way, so it would not apply to them folks.
Oh, not okay. But you'd rarely have that because that'd be on property owners.
No, in parts of North and South Anderson, there's an 80-foot right of way.
Oh.
From the center line, 40 feet,
Oh.
35 feet, 30 feet. Anywhere from 60 to 80 feet.
So on page 27 of 40, I'm not just cherry picking, but I saw, under H3, all antennas shall be unrecognizable as such by an average person. So what exactly is an antenna? I mean,
That is fine.
is that in the front?
It is defined, yes. Antenna means communications equipment that transits, receives, or transmits and receives electromagnetic radio signals used in the provision of all kinds of wireless communication services.
So I don't see how that's, I mean, the average person can recognize these things.
I didn't know I was looking at communication poles when I first saw them. This makes me an average person, but I didn't know what they were the first time I saw them. Then when I got to this and got into it, I realized what it was all about.
Receiver. It's like stereos.
Right, and that's part of the existing ordinance already, so that's not even
I
something
know.
we can.
Well, I know, I realize that, but is that being enforced?
We haven't had the issue.
I think we talked about this a little bit, but on page 28, my biggest thing is, and you said there's not much we can do about it, but the lateral distance between poles, and it's got 100 feet. I can see utility poles in that, but these towers, when I was looking online for what they were and everything, with 5G, they'll go 500,000 feet or something like that. And when I came down Surf City, each pole's like half a mile apart. And the first pole starts about a little over a mile from the water tower in Surf City. So I figured we've got a mile from our tower here, which would make it about to Trout. Next one goes to milepost 2, probably a little past Rocky Mount. So you have only little sections that might need the towers.
Right.
But it seems like if they'll go, you got 2 towers, one goes 1,000 feet or so this way and this way. You should at least, it should be like 1,000 feet for the mini towers.
Right. Like I said, I discussed with Wes, and that's just not, the state, the House bill and everything else, it limits us to what we can.
So the cell tower people said that's all they need. And Surf City didn't have any input on the distance between the two.
And if need be, they can come in and backfill in between that 1,000 feet. And Surf City has no say on it. They have to prove that they need it,
Correct.
but
Said with these new towers I think towns are putting them in because of high density, and we don't have as much down here. And so they probably need it up there. And they were more for 5G, which shorter distances, only travel shorter distances. That's why they have those.
But we don't have that need down here.
I don't know. It depends on if our signal from our tower gets all the way to the town line or not.
it really boils down to, they will tell us
Yeah.
if they have the need.
Yeah.
And then we react with what limited options we have.
I think you've hit on everything I submitted. So from your perspective, if an applicant comes forward, I mean, do you feel comfortable that you've got an objective standard if these changes are implemented?
I do, especially, and like I said, I've spoken with a couple other planners. Of course, I worked with Wes and Ron on this. And they would be the people I would reach out to once I got an application, because it'll be a first for me.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, I've dealt with, this wireless facility behind us. And the permitting process will be similar, because we don't, review it just by ourselves. We have a consultant that looks at it. They pay the fee for the consultant as well, in their permitting process. So someone else looks at it too, and outside a third party.
Technical expertise.
Is this also, not a fallout, is this because of the sale of the tower? Does any of this?
No. Now, the tower will operate just as it has. It's just, we don't own it anymore.
Well, understanding that, but will the new owner be able to make changes to enhance the tower, put more signal,
There's
whatever?
more space on it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, as long as they stay within the confines of the ordinance. And they still have to follow the ordinance even if they own the tower. They'll still have to go through the same permitting, consulting, everything.
And the provider owns the towers.
Correct.
We don't get any money from him placing it there, like this tower.
Correct.
This is out of my room.
My biggest thing was the spacing in between this, make it as wide.
Right, and I'm sure they're not gonna wanna put, spend more money than they have to and put more than what they need. If we ever get an application, we're just getting ahead of it.
So it's best to have this in place, or if they ever wanted it, then to have it not really talk about it.
Correct.
Are there any other foreseeable utilities expected to come this way?
Not that I'm aware of.
As a utility, that might not be the right terminology, but any other, yes, utility? Okay. Like the break speed. Is that what it's called, break speed?
Right, Steve?
Is that, am I,
That's a cable company.
I don't know, I just
Yeah.
remember saying
Yeah, they ever got that hooked up.
Is that down here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are those underground cables or above? Don't remember.
Do you have any suggested changes to what we're being asked to recommend for clarity or any other reason?
For clarity, I think in the definitions, we ought to have the definition of ANSI-TIA-22. Because it took me page 20 to actually get it spelled out for me what it is. We also might want to consider the definition of NIER means non-ionizing electromagnetic radiation. And I would propose adding such as RF radiation or radio frequency radiation, because RF appears all through here and I couldn't find it anywhere. Also for housekeeping, I found a reference to conditional use permit on page 7, and that should probably be special use permit. Then I found another one on page 36. On page 7, it is 16.144.2. And on page 36, it's 16-167B, about smack dab in the middle of the paragraph. I found it interesting that under wireless support structure, these a new existing structure is a monopole, lattice tower, or guide tower that is designed to support or capable of supporting wireless facilities. A utility pole or a city utility pole is not a wireless support structure. When you read the whole thing, the only thing we really permit is monopole, because guide towers and lattice towers are prohibited within the various texts in different places. But I guess that's just a canned definition.
That's one other thing, I think I mentioned it. The definitions, the application talks about co-locate wireless facilities and then approve the structures, including wireless support structures. But in co-location definition, it says that term does not include installation of new utility poles, city utility poles, or wireless support structures. So I didn't know if there was some clarity, because I guess the structure is not within that co-locate wireless facilities part. So I don't know if they need to be synced up or whatever.
Question on page 9, number 20. Any and all representations made by the applicant or that are made in support of the application shall be deemed to be on the record, whether written or verbal, and shall be deemed to have been relied upon in good faith by the town. Any verbal representation shall be treated as if it were made in writing. Does that make any sense in a court of law? It's a setup for he said, she said.
Not really.
Yes. So it's, why is it there?
So
In the era of email, everything should be in writing.
Should be, but I think verbal counts too.
Well, it does in court, but then unless you've got a tape recording, who said what? And my understanding is whoever creates a document, if there's an ambiguity, the courts will construe that ambiguity against the author of the document.
Sure.
Also, with the ANSI TIA, the acronyms are presented in different order throughout the entire thing. And so standardize it. I mean, ANSI-TIA and 222 just happens to be the specific document per standard. Inconsistency is probably nuts. Page 18, number 5. New towers shall be prohibited on private property in residential districts in areas officially deemed to be visual or sensitive scenic areas within the town corporate limits. Why don't we just prohibit towers in the city zoning districts? Because that's what would be the scenic views. I mean, the south end of the Marsh Islands, not that anyone wants to step on the Marsh Island.
But it's not in a DOT right away.
Okay. Okay. Okay, makes sense.
I don't remember, are Carolina an ocean DOT or is it town? DOT. So these, new holes or whatever could be not only along South Anderson or along Anderson, they could be on ocean.
I think we would get electricity.
I have seen some of them, that some of them have that, but some of them also have a meter on them. So they've done it in different ways.
Okay.
I noticed another inconsistency on page 15, 16-150, the process of what we want for people that are applying for a permit for a new tower. We're asking for email addresses here, but when we go over to 16-151 small facilities, we're not. This. Oh, no, it's actually on page 22, number 2 down at the bottom, membership and management. We're not asking for email addresses there.
So I will tell you with our new portal system,
Of
we'll have an email, but they have to put an email in to create an account.
course. Yeah, I gotta go through it one at a time. That's where my missing guide towers are prohibited.
The document was talking about priority one or different priorities. The providers set that or is that? I think it was talking about priorities, you know, the highest priority or the priority one. Is that their first choice? Is that the provider setting their priorities?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so with the portal, that also would eliminate any verbal communication because it's all coming in via email. That
And I communicate through the portal by email as well.
okay, cool. That's all I'm doing.
Very good.